Here we go. Another thing that has me worried. James Gunn reveals specific events from the DCEU will be canon to the DCU, but only when they're mentioned in new DCU projects. And he says here there are references to things that happened in the past, and those references then become canon in the DCU because we mention them. This sounds really confusing, and I'm so concerned that this is going to be a problem and this is going to be baggage, which is why I personally wanted a clean cut. I wanted a brand new beginning without any holdovers from the previous films. Balcor says, yeah, for his projects. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but he is overseeing the entire DCU. So from that perspective, it seems like he could do it to any project he wants to at this point. But so like I said, I wanted a clean cut because as much as I loved some of those DCEU characters that I thought worked really well, if you're trying not to confuse or have any leftover baggage from the problems that the DCEU created, the best thing you can do is leave all of that in the past. However, we know for a fact that certain characters, like some of the ones pictured here, are going to be coming back. They are going to be part of the new DCU. And I think that's going to confuse people. And the issue is there was a problem with selling that universe to the public. And this was supposed to be like a fresh take on that, a revelation on that, to make things easier to consume, a new starting point. And holding on to all that old stuff, to me, is a gamble from a financial perspective that I guess they're willing to take.
Yeah, like I think with this, it's like Gunn's obviously going to cherry pick. I mean, you can't try and go against or like like that. Like that's clearly going to be the case. There's always going to be favoritism to the stuff he made, which is fine. He's the dude that's producing all this stuff creatively. I think I did see someone mention the Blue Beetle animated thing. I think that really is going to rely on Creature Commandos doing half decent. I think if that doesn't do that well, then I think Hasta La Vista, the Blue Beetle animated stuff, I don't think they'll do that because it's just they'll think of just waste of time. My concern is, or my question is, and you might be able to chime in, Eric, or anyone in the chat. Do you think Peacemaker Season 2 and Creature Commandos will be worth just not hard rebooting everything? My answer is probably not. I think you probably should have just hard rebooted it, but Gunn must just feel a big connection with that stuff to really want to continue it.
I think there is a internal struggle with the whole Peacemaker thing because the first season was good.
Yeah, good.
I enjoyed the first season. I also think the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn did was also really good. The issue is that the Suicide Squad movie underperformed. And I think that even if it was for XYZ reasons, the studio is still taking a risk on continuing anything from that. And I feel like Creature Commandos definitely is going to feel like it's connected to that particular movie and what happens in that movie. Because specifically,
by the way,
Rick
Malcolm,
Sr.
No, it's not. They said the only things that are in production currently in production that haven't finished Lanterns and Supergirl. They're in pre-production.
So I think that those things are going to be directly connected. And I think that's an issue because, again, it feels like a passion thing and not so much a logical thing. And with Peacemaker, I don't think there was any way that Warner Brothers and DC wanted to get rid of Peacemaker as a TV show because it did tremendously well for them. But it also didn't make any sense for it to continue in a dead universe.
Yeah.
So they had to come up with a way to bring it over. Now, we still don't know what that means. And to be quite honest, I don't know if it even matters at the end of the day. Like, I don't know if it's going to matter much to the bigger like movie universe or not. For Peacemaker, it might be pretty much consolidated to their show. We might not ever see anything come over there.
To be honest, I think everything else is going to be a hard reboot except pretty much Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, and Waller. Like that stuff in that thing, everything's going to stay there. And I think, you know why? I think it's because Gunn probably spent time developing that stuff before he got the gig. I think he'd come up with Creature Commandos. Obviously, Peacemaker Season 2 was obvious. and potentially even Waller, because that's stemming off of Peacemaker.
But Paige, the weird thing about it is he's already established that they have Elseworld imprints. Like they're going to be doing Elseworld stories. He could have just kept those as separate things.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, like Peacemaker has no major characters in it. Creature Commandos has no major characters in it. The only major characters are the ones that are new, which, you know, at least in regards to appearing in Superman. And then you have Amanda Waller, and Viola Davis is just too good of a casting to throw away anyway. I think it's just like, I think it's different than like if, let's say, Gunn had made the Flash movie or something, or Gunn had made Wonder Woman or something, and it's keeping like that character in there, but then getting rid of everyone else. Then it would be a bit more problematic. But I think, and I know it sounds offensive, but a lot of this stuff is like sea level. Like it's, people will still watch it, but it's not like your A tier Batman, Superman, Justice League characters and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think Gunn knows that. I think Gunn knows that there's the loophole there as to why he can keep these characters and that canon, if you want to put it, but then like dispose everything else and reboot it essentially. You know, so like,
I'm just worried because we talked about this also, that Creature Commandos is clearly a mature and adult type show, and that is the kickoff for the DCU, is a show not intended for, you know, anybody under 18 to watch.
Malcolm, I said new character. Yeah, well, I mean, like he's a new character. We didn't see Clayface in the DCEU, so new characters. Like Rick Flag Sr., new character. Didn't see him in the DCEU, but he'll be in Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 2, and Superman. And I'd probably Waller as well whenever that ball gets rolling.
Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know what this is going to mean for the DCU, but I can't imagine that for people trying to figure out the you know, pulling that graph up where you're drawing lines to everything, this is going to feel very loose in terms of how they're doing it. And I don't know if it's going to pay off. We'll have to see. Again, it could be seamless, but I don't feel like it is going to be. So
I reckon they're gonna have something where probably like Peacemaker was tripping balls or something silly like that. Unless they literally do reference that, like the Flash. I do wonder if they reference the Flash. Like, I heard that this. Then again, how would he know? I know it might be just because Peacemaker at the end of the day is a silly show. It's a silly show at its heart. So they might just have some silly thing that really just applies to Peacemaker because it's the thing continuing over. But like something like Superman and Batman Brave and the Bold and whatever it is, Lands doesn't have to reference that because they weren't involved.
Right.
Yeah. Look, I can understand people's concerns with it because at the end of the day, it is cherry picking. But I don't care too much because it's Gunn's world creatively. He got the gig. He got the job as the creative lead, so he can do what he wants to do. It's you as the consumer whether you want to support it. If you don't want to support it, don't watch the fucking things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.